House to Home, presented by Remax Diamond Realty.
We are not just coworkers on House to Home, which comes to you every Tuesday, everybody. We're not just colleagues, we're not just friends and everything. We're really a family, and so we're bringing back a member of our family and someone who we have not spoke to in quite a while, Carlos Camacho right now, who is out in Arizona at the moment.
That's correct.
Yeah, so Carlos, you got enough sunshine of your own and everything like that. The cactus and the desert and everything like that, like you can have that. I like the
But right
beach.
now it's summertime and boy, my wife is over there and it's so hot. I go, that's why we don't stay there during summer.
But your connection to the island and your passion for service and to contribute to the real estate industry does continue because last time we had you on, we were talking about mortgage credits. Unfortunately, it you know the fishing derby just passed this past weekend, so I'm all about fishing right now. But we didn't have as many bites as we thought we were going to, so that's what we're going to talk about today, right?
Yes, the program is called Mortgage Credit Certificate. That was a congressional act in 1984, and then in 2000 was introduced in Guam to get it implemented. Luckily, there was no sunset provision, so it's still active. But 26 years later, it has not been implemented. We tried when I was back here via GAR, we tried to push the momentum, but I guess it just never took the ride. And the beauty about the MCC, if applicable to Guam, it is applicable, but if implemented, everything that we're seeing in high costs, inflationary costs, what the MCC does, it provides a portion of uh, their paid taxes. In Guam law, 20 years ago, we're going to set aside $2,000 annually, which equates to $166 a month. May not sound a lot, but if you ever do if you inputs that and the debt ratio, last time we did it 20 some years ago, uh, uh, it provided a 40 to $50,000 purchasing power. Remember, that's 20 years ago. Today, again, we still have those middle working class families that can't afford the 650, $700,000 home.
Yeah, some
So,
people are complaining about $166 like per month is too low. I'll take that gladly. That
no,
helps.
yeah, if you really, I can send you, Jason, a PowerPoint I put together when I did this with the guard with Liz when she was, well, we're still there, but
Mhm.
it showed a purchasing power from household of four and how they improved it by 50,000. Of course, that's many, many years old. So today, I got to do the same exercise and check it out. But at the end of the day, I I just got back and I saw the same issues and I just want to see what we need to do to get this program re-implemented, right? So fortunately, about a week ago, it was Gar. Gar was there. I forgot. Was represented. Then we brought in Department of Revenue Tax because they play a role on this. And the great news is they were familiar of it. They're familiar of. They even got the forms for the family supply. So that was good. And number three, we brought in Guam Housing and GITA because they play a role based on the statute 26 years ago. So this was hosted by the chairman of Land, Senator Tony Atta, to see what we can do to re-implement this program. So when we met, this was about a week ago, and again we brought in the key stakeholders. Gar was there, and I apologize, I forget the name of the individuals because Liz I think was off island at that time, but
I mean, there are like 300 people in GAR, so no worries there. There's a lot of names and faces to
I
remember.
know I gotta just try to remember. But the great news was that we were trying to figure out why was it not implemented. So 20 years ago, the law authorized Guam Housing to be the administrator of the program, and so they did not ever developed the rules and regulation. That's the missing key.
Mm.
So what I did, I said, geez, this program's been in the books in Hawaii and everywhere else. Why don't I do the research? I guess I'll do it on their behalf because it doesn't benefit me, it benefits the end user. And fortunately, we found the Hawaii's rules and regs. As you know, the legislative branch in Guam always uh, looks at other successful states and modify for Guam. So that's where we at. We are drafting the rules and regs through Senator Tony Ada. And then the missing link that was not part of that group because it's just the first group meeting is the banks, credit unions, and to find out if they want to participate because they're the lending arm. Well, the good news is two of those major banks that are in Guam, uh, First Hawaiian and Bank of Hawaii, is already administering the program in Hawaii. So they're familiar with the program. So hopefully they'll come in and extend the program as one of their options for the families. And hopefully the rest of the other institution, Coast 360, Community First, and the Credit Union, Bank of Guam. I'm not sure what other
And
bank.
we'll have across the board coverage.
Yes. And the other great news that I double checked the secondary market. If you guys don't know, there's the Norcom guys and there's the what's those guys? Total Mortgage guys. So I've been communicating with Total Mortgage and they said they also uh use uh the MCC. As you know, Total Mortgage and Norcom uses the FHA program. It's called the 203K, right? So
Yeah.
if this MCC comes in, it provides these guys that are right at the yellow, I call it the triage, the green, yellow, and red, right at the borderline that improves their buying power.
That's an
So,
interesting word you use there, Carlos. Triage, because Liz, we're not gonna try and dissuade our audience from thinking that this is going to be the great savior of Guam's real estate market in the state that it is right now. But this should be a very positive stimulant, I would think.
well,
It,
if
it,
when I said that, oh, go ahead. I'll make Liz talk to
no,
first.
I was just gonna say it's a step to help their buying power. And
That's
I
great.
know years ago, when Carlos introduced this, and he even came to our office to show us the program, but the mechanisms, as he put it, weren't in place. So this will improve our buying power for the people here to increase their the price point that they need to buy a home.
Because as we're finding out, Gina, that a lot of people right now are, and it's becoming such a popular phrase to use. It's almost like embarrassing that it's trending, but people are saying we're getting priced out of paradise.
Oh, absolutely. It's been going on for a while. But Carlos, I have a question. So once the government produces the rules and regs, what will the process be to actually put this into use? And who do you think will have the biggest impact? Who do you think is going to benefit the most?
Well,
What group of buyers?
yeah. So if you look at the law that was passed in the past, it was targeting up to the 120% area median income. As you know, FHA uh, adjusts that every year, and in that meeting, I told the senator that FHA, because Guam is defined as a difficult development area because all the high cost of inflation, all that, FHA gave Guam a increase from 120% AMI to 150% AMI.
But
So,
what would that mean in numbers? Percentages are great, but I'm not good
no,
with
I'm sorry.
percentages. What number are we talking about in terms
When
of
you're talking
income?
about, as you know how they define it, party one, party two, party three, four, and all up to eight.
Yeah.
Um, I have that table. I didn't know I was going to talk about that
Oh,
today.
Liz is breaking out the calculator right now, so she's going to jam some hard numbers.
But yeah, but we need the actual income amount so that we could go by. You're saying we could exceed it by 150%.
No, it's capped up to 150.
It's capped up to 150.
Yeah, which is a lot of buying power. I mean, a lot of qualified. We call these guys the missing middle. These are the
Yeah.
guys that these are the guys that uh
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, you guys all know I do a lot of low income housing program,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that is up to 80% AMI.
Which is a perfect way to say that, Carlos, because many people would believe that Guam's middle class is approaching the point when it's going to basically disappear if it hasn't already dropped out.
Yeah,
So would you
so
say, Carlos, the middle income is that income of 75,000 a year for both husband and wife? Is that, give us a number just to what does that look like? Is it 75,000 or 50,000 or
I'll give you
100,000?
I just got that updated yesterday because I didn't know we are going to talk about that, but just give me 1 second. I just got that on 2025. 1 second.
Wow.
Let me get
Because
that.
that helps. That definitely will help.
Yeah. Let me
See, everybody's using calculators today. I'm done. I've still got like my
I
pencil
got
case
it
with the
here.
times
Are you
tables.
guys ready?
Yep.
Yes.
So, the income limits, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you go up to the 150% AMI, you're talking about income of 84,000 to 139,000, which is good. Now, these are the guys with that type of annual income, depending on their family size, not to exceed, which is a good missing middle. These are the guys that uh, probably won't qualify for the 700,000 home because maybe they qualify for 650 and they're short that gap. And the good news is that unlike low income that I've practiced for the last 30 years, uh, this is I'll give you an example for the low income. 1 second.
I think that in conjunction, hopefully with interest rates dropping, I mean, we're all hoping for the interest rates dropping. Because if you look at a $650,000 home, 30-year mortgage, 6% interest, that's a $3,800 payment.
Yeah, yeah.
More.
So at
So,
the 80% AMI that I do, we have an income cap of $44,000. That's our cap for the low income. Unfortunately, when I describe the missing middle, and it goes from 81% to 150, that 44,000 now can go as high as 1 second. On that family one now, on family one, as high as 84,000, but that's only family one. So if it's a hardworking uh fireman or police guys that are making that kind of money, now unfortunately they just can't they can't get what I used to do well, I still do it, but the subsidy for the low income, that's how I used to close that gap because we still get the market rate. I don't control the construction. I don't control that. So here's the market rate. Here's your targeted income. So here's the gap. If you meet the 80% and below, you get the subsidy to close that gap. That's what I did. Now, we all know CDBGDR went through many public comment period, and I'm only telling what's in the record because we're still waiting for. We heard they're gonna finally kick it off in January, but that's targeting only for the 80% and below. Now that one, what that does is it provides, if you guys are in tune to that, they provide a 240 million out of that 500 million for home ownership. Now,
That's the
whoever.
GURA. That's the GURA
Yes,
program.
yes, Dora.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
that's they went out and they got the public interest, and it could be me, it could be Mr. Ho, and the other guys that's in the game now is Robert Bob Salas, which is okay. 240 million is plenty to go around. So
But Carlos, that program is and most, like, for instance, the core tech people, and of course, and I just want to disclose that we, our nonprofit through Remax Diamond Realty, which is the Children's Arc, we
Yeah.
created that, some years ago. We partnered up with Bob Salas's group,
Yeah.
but those programs are primarily geared towards rental. It's a rental program, whereas we really, our goal is to help people actually own their own home.
So again, just so I can re-describe again, I'm only going to say what they publicly announced on the last stretch before HUD approves it. They
Yeah.
set aside 240 million, unless they changed it, that I don't know, Out of the
Yeah.
240 million, 200 million is for home ownership, 40 million is for multifamily rental. So it hits both market.
Great.
But
Great.
we don't know until January when they start announcing it, and it's very fluid. What I heard is if there's more demand on the rental, and the only reason is because, as you all know, a lot of people when you're trying to get a home ownership side, you got to meet debt coverage ratio, and if you don't meet debt coverage ratio, then the only other opportunity is the rental program, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I don't know if I heard they're gonna make it flexible. So if there's more, like a Bob Salas or Mr. Ho or me, right, and somebody else, whoever,
Carlos, yeah.
uh, 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 I know, I remember 20, 30 years ago why I got into the rental business and the low income. For every 10 applicants that go through this triage program for home ownership, uh, three met the income qualifier and debt ratio. Seven was right at the yellow and the red zone. So, and I keep seeing that high demand because, I got nothing against our targeted demographic, but, Guam is small, so they go get a auto loan, they go get those small loans, and they can't improve their debt ratio. So I said, wow, there's a market for this rental market.
Yeah.
That's why I started this in 2005. Again, that was a 1986 program by Congress. I did not create it. That's a congressional program, but nobody used it. So I
And
used
that
it.
is the interesting thing because so many people out there, our fellow Guamanians are becoming more and more financially aware, and financial literacy wasn't something that was taught in schools
That's correct.
going all the way back to the 70s. But now people are starting to say, okay, I need to establish good credit. So they're taking out like multiple loans and, doing stuff like that. But I guess to your point, Carlos, is they don't realize that that does have an impact on your ability to get a house loan if you're going to take out something that big.
Yeah,
So
because
it's a real interesting and delicate balancing act.
yeah, and these families, they're not familiar of debt coverage ratio. If you go to Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae, their back end debt ratio is 36. If you go to the RD loan program, their back end ratio is 41. Why Norcom Mortgage and Total Mortgage? Kate,
Hey, Carlos, so Norcom switched over. They're CMG now. They are now officially known as CMG Home
And that's
Loans.
Mike
oh,
Rudolph's
That's Mike
company, right?
Ruda.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mike Rudolph.
Our buddy Mike, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if you understand those 203K, why they got a niche market in Guam? I don't know if you guys know their back end. Their back end is 50%,
Wow.
unlike
Didn't know that.
36, 41 at 50. Now, there's still some people, when I was talking to the Total Mortgage guys, there's still some people at 54. So they exceed the 50. But when we did the 166 exercise, oh my God, it went from the 54 down to 49. So they qualified.
They qualify, yeah. And I think some of our viewers may be getting lost in our
I
conversation
know, I
because
know.
we're, and sometimes, Carlos, to be frank with you, so I mean, you work with a lot of complicated, creative mortgage. I mean, you're really creative when it comes to being able to put customers together with a program that will help them be able to borrow more. And that's really what you're talking about. By utilizing these programs, you're giving them the ability to be in this market where the cost of the home is high, the interest rate is high, but you're giving them a product that is going to enable them to borrow more because of the product or qualify for a better amount, correct?
That's correct. And just to let you guys know, I was here already for the last 2 weeks. They had a public hearing on the mineral extraction, Hawaiian Rock. There's only two in Guam in that, or three. Hawaiian Rock, Smith Bridge, and Cortec. There's just so much demand on these, I call it the white gold, right? For the military project, but they're getting it from the Chamorro Land Trust. So I testified and I said, we need to, I use the same area median income uh, framework from FHA. I said to the Hawaiian Rock rep, I said, or whoever is going to win that bid, I said, you guys should create a lifeline rate on the construction material. That's concrete, aggregate, and all that. and they loved it. They loved it. I said, because you're getting the resources from Guam's asset, that you should give back some type of lifeline rate. And if they do that, hopefully that's one component. I don't know if it's going to pass into law. Of course, there's 15 senators here, but they all liked it. But would they do it? I don't know. But at the end of the day, again, that was committee chaired by Senator Toniata, and that bill was sponsored by Joe San Augustine. But the great news, they love the lifeline rate. So if we're able to bring the costs of aggregate and concrete and hollow blocks, if that's the method they're going to use to build the home, that will chip away some pricing. That's what I told them. And at the end of the day, I'm not the one benefiting. It's going to be those targeted groups that will help lower that cost. Then if you layer in the MCC, you'll give them additional buying power. So hopefully they'll close that gap.
The housing rule, the rules, the policies and guidelines that are being proposed right now, because that was what was missing in order to move
Yeah.
forward. So hopefully deadlines were set, timelines were established to say, okay, this will be done within a 30-day window. And if it's done within a 30-day window, what happens next? How soon thereafter can the program be implemented?
Well, again, the missing part is the rules and regs. So that's what you have to, unfortunately, you have to introduce bills again and let it go through that vetting process. But most importantly, in that meeting, the great news is we had all the key stakeholders, the chairman of land, the Toniata DRT that concurs that, I may have got this number wrong, but Form 8639 or Form something, which is part of MCC, they do have the form, but it just they haven't used it. And then Guam Housing was supposed to implement the rules and reg 20 years ago, but they got a lot of new young faces. So I threw in I said I will put something together since I'm familiar with this program, but of course it'll be finally vetted there. Once you get all that in, the missing link, as I said 10 minutes ago, is the participating lenders, right? Would they want to do it or not? I told these guys in the meeting that this qualifies as a CRA, Community Reinvestment Act. In order for these lenders to sustain their FDIC category, they got to do some CRA program. So I decided to say, check if this fits under the CRA, which it does, but I am not the compliance guys with the.
Okay, so that's a mandate if you're a lender, because I was saying like most banks, predominantly like the privately held ones are basically going to say, can we build a business case around this? But if you're saying, Carlos, that this is part of like FDIC requirements and everything, that's interesting.
Yeah, the regular banks like a Bank of Hawaii, First Hawaiian, and Bank of Guam, they have to require under the CRA. The credit unions are different. They don't need CRA, but I don't know. I don't want to step in their toes. We're just giving ideas and the framework. And the other good news is that like I said, credit unions and banks are doing it. I was just worried that the big beautiful bill in Congress, the new one, I thought they were gonna cut it off, but they did not cut it off, so it's still available to my research. But I'll make the senators figure that one out.
But
But so
Carlos,
to
I
answer
have a
to answer
question.
Liz's question,
Yeah.
once we get all that, and I think the next group meeting, because I won't be here, but probably through Zoom, is they're going to invite the banks to make sure that they want to participate. Once they say yes, this reminds me 25 years ago. I don't know if you guys remember, the financing was only 80% financing, 20% down.
Yeah.
So what I did was, again, another program. At that time, it was called RECD, Rural Economic Community Development. I went to Bank of Hawaii. I said, "You guys do this in Hawaii. How come you're not doing it in Guam?" Was, "Oh, nobody asked us." So I did the first 100% financing. At that time, we were capped at 140, right? I ran the ad, and again, for old joke matter in the side, I remember when it wasn't called GAR those days. It was, I forget, it was down at Wendy's in Agana when the real estate team used to meet.
The meetings, yeah.
They invited me there because they were saying, Carlos, you're falsifying your ad. I'm not going to mention names. I said, oh, I'm falsifying my ad. He goes, there's no such thing as 100%. I said, well, let's see. But so then I said, and I jokingly, just to break the ice in that one meeting, all the old time boys there, I said, how many of you watch late night TV? And they all raised their hand. He goes, okay, I forgot the guy's name, but the one who would do 100% financing, go buy their book and learn it. And then they got mad at me because I was joking. But, I told them the program. And today, that's one of the programs that was available now. And then in 2000, the U.S. Census, USDA was not able to go around Guam because Guam was considered one whole census designated place. I participated again and broke down CDPs. It's called Census Designated Tract. And that's why Guam has 19 CDPs, right? So in the village of Dededo, now we broke it into CDPs. So USA can finance projects within those CDPs. Sorry, those are just acronyms, but that's the history that I played way back.
Well, for one
Carlos.
acronym, there is a acronym that I know we've used colloquially. It's PDQ, and we would hope that like if this program does finally come to pass, it would be passed pretty damn quick.
I hope so because every legislature always talks about what do we do for affordable housing, amend the QC law so we can give a break, but it's not the QC. The QC benefits the contractor. It's the homeowner with their buying power that we got to figure out. And hopefully, MCC is the because again, I didn't finish this one off, but Guam gets an allocation under the private activity bond. And in this meeting, I shocked the GITA guys. I said, you guys know you guys got 300 million set aside for this program, right? They go, how did you know that? I go, very easy, just check your IRS allocation. But anyways, I'm glad they all showed up. I'm glad Senator Ada played a role to put everybody in. And I want to make sure that everybody plays a role on a positive momentum, right? I mean, because I don't manage GITA, I don't manage Guam Housing, I don't manage DRT. But the great news, GAR was there, and we were there from the private side, trying to figure out how we could get it re-implemented. And that bill is 20-some years old. So I'm assuming when we finally adopt the rules and regs, we're probably gonna modify the 20-year-old law that's old, and I'll play a role in that one. But even GAR, that's why I asked if GAR can be invited, and so that way it's just not me by myself. You know what I mean? Coming in. So I want to make sure everybody plays a role.
Thank you for your efforts, Carlos, because the knowledge you have regarding the federal programs, I think to some degree you even have to educate the government entities on what's available. So I applaud you and thank you for all your efforts.
And you did actually shine the light on something. And like we're not dunking on our friends over at GovGuam by any means, but you said leadership at the various agencies and commissions has changed, and like when people have moved on or new people have come in, legislatures have changed, even ADALOOP has changed out. You've been doing this yourself for a very, very long time, so there is a lot of value in the institutional knowledge that you bring to the table.
Well, I'll give you one case study example. If you're familiar with Lara Estates in Dededo, how the government wanted to become a developer, which is okay. Government wanted to do it. They spend $10 million to put in the road, curb, and gutter. And then they floated a $50 million mortgage revenue bond. Same players, right? But they didn't understand the back-end debt ratio, targeting that low income. Nobody qualified. So that became a concrete jungle. 20 years later, they settled the lawsuit with the contractor because they owed him a lot of money. And I went in, I said, I could fix this. They said, so when I went to the legislature again, I said, you guys tried it 20 years ago and it's a concrete jungle now. So all I did was amend one portion of the law. Today, if you've ever gone up to Lada, it is fully built and everybody lives in there now.
Yeah, they got their own store, they have their own
everything
center. Yeah. It's like a village within a village.
Exactly. But see, sometimes it takes a creative program, and at that time that property was given to as a settlement in the private. That's how we get involved. Because if it's government, it's probably going to be a lot of bureaucratic red tape. Not to blame any government, but they got so much procurement issues and all that kind of stuff.
Don't worry. If you ever want to hold the government accountable, we have Gina. So
Now, Jason, everyone's holding them accountable. It's
There
called
you go.
elections.
well, speaking of like things that may be a catalyst for a great change happening, next year is an election year for what it's worth. So there's that.
Well, I'll be amazed to see everybody's. There's so many people running for governor. I want to see their housing platform, because I always tell people, "Who you for?" I go, "I'm not for anybody, because no matter who is up there, R, D, or I, they're gonna need a housing solution anyway, so they can't turn me down."
Well,
That's
there you go.
joking. I'm just joking.
That's right. But it's true. It's
Well,
absolutely
Carlos, thank you very much for your insight, and please keep on keeping on, man, as they say.
I got a lot of stuff on my sleeve. Liz was gonna make me announce it, but I'm keeping that tight till we'll do that in the next show, but not now until I get it going.
You know what? Speaking of your sleeve, next, you're welcome back on this show anytime, anytime you want to. You know that, Carlos, and everything. Sit back for a moment, because I want to say, speaking of your sleeve, you have a really, really nice island print shirt. Wear that shirt the next time you come on the show.
Okay, all right.
That's a nice one. Okay, Carlos, thank you.
Thanks,
Jason,
Carla.
All right,
Gina,
talk to you.
a
Liz,
lot.
thank you guys.
House to Home, presented by Remax Diamond Realty.